Warm greetings from the high tent. It is Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. I'm bringing you all a very bizarre story out of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Arizona. These three states are linked to a very horrific crime. It is a crime pertaining to a young lady who knew a young man, knew of him some type of way, met him at a bar with some friends, associates, and somehow at the end of the night, she and those said people ended up deceased in a SUV in the state of Wisconsin. And mind you, they were all at a bar in Minnesota, and they were dumped like trash in Wisconsin. This is a very bizarre story, and I'm going to bring you the said information. 1 second.
Into them Friday. Officials have not said who carried out the killings, but believe evidence will show it. 12 News learning more about the Arizona suspect's past through court records. In 2019, Suggs was accused of intentionally driving into another woman's car near Cottonwood Lane in Phoenix, then opening her door and punching her in the face and mouth before strangling her with both hands around her neck, only stopping because a witness stepped in to help. Records show the woman thought he was going to kill her. Suggs pleading guilty to aggravated assault, sentenced to 6 months in jail. Now, as Suggs' father is charged with 4 counts of hiding a corpse, more charges loom large as Suggs awaits extradition back to Wisconsin. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
Okay, thank you. This is some very crazy information. So I'm going to see.
After the victims' families pleaded for justice,
hold on.
Authorities now say they have the 2 people responsible in custody.
I'm going to bring you another commentary. Hold on. Because they're running back to back in the queue. Sorry about that.
Bluetooth connected.
Take those lies. After the victims' families pleaded for justice, authorities now say they have the 2 people responsible in custody.
To our knowledge, there are no other suspects at this point.
56-year-old Darren Osborne is charged with 4 counts of hiding a corpse, and the Dunn County Sheriff says Osborne's 38-year-old son, Antoine Suggs, will soon face the same charges.
Hopefully, family and friends of our victims can rest a little easier at night.
The sheriff says Suggs turned himself into police Friday in Gilbert, Arizona, near Phoenix, where he has been living. According to a criminal complaint, the aunt of victim Natasha Lee Flood Presley told investigators her niece had a, quote, thing with Antoine D. Suggs and he would fly in from Arizona to see her. The complaint indicates that Suggs and multiple victims interacted at St. Paul bars early Sunday, and by Sunday afternoon, investigators cite evidence that places Osborne and Suggs at a rural western Wisconsin gas station in 2 vehicles. One of those vehicles, the complaint says, was a Mercedes matching where the bodies were found in a cornfield. It goes on to say investigators, quote, located inside the vehicle an Arizona photo identification card for Antoine Suggs. The sheriff says they have established who the shooter was, but can't release that yet, only to say that the father and son were involved in hiding the bodies.
Depending on if we can establish where the homicides actually happened, the homicide charges may actually come from a different agency or even a different state.
The motive in this case still remains a mystery. The Dunn County Sheriff says Antoine Suggs will be extradited from Arizona and could be brought back here early next week unless he fights that extradition. But Rena, there are just so many questions here still to answer.
My goodness, and those families, I just feel for them. It's just a terrible story. All right, Danny, thank you.
Okay.
If you or a loved one.
That's mercy. Some very strange information. Carrie Levin is the source for that last video clip. You can go into YouTube for the said video audio that I just played you. The first one is 12 News of the first information I brought you. And the second one was News 11. I'm going to go ahead and read you said information. pertaining to the storyline. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. The Independent is my third source. Wisconsin cornfield shooting. Man turns himself in after 4 people found murdered in car. Antoine Suggs, 38, and his father, Darren Lee McWright, also using another alias by the last name of Osborne, and I'm just throwing that in from commentary I've researched. Darren Lee McWright, 56, who is the father of Antoine Suggs, 38, are charged in connection with 4 murders. A father and son are both in custody in connection with the bizarre and violent deaths of 4 people found fatally shot in an SUV in Wisconsin after the younger suspect turned himself into Arizona police more than a day's drive away from the Midwest crime scene. Antoine Suggs, 38, was taken into custody on Friday in Gilbert, Arizona. Warrants had been issued 2 days earlier by the Dunn County Sheriff's Office in Wisconsin for his arrest and that of his father, Darren Lee McWright, 56, who also uses the surname Osborne. Mr. McWright was arrested on Wednesday night in Minnesota, which borders Wisconsin, and is being held in Ramsey County Jail in St. Paul. He is charged with 4 counts of hiding a corpse. The victims found in an SUV in Wisconsin cornfield were Natasha Flood Presley, 30, her friend Jasmine Christine Sturm, 30, Sturm's brother Matthew Isaiah Pattis, 26, and Sturm's boyfriend Loyes Foreman III. Okay, so we have Miss Natasha Flood Presley, who's allegedly dating Mr. Suggs, her friend Jasmine Sturm, Jasmine's brother Matthew, and Sturm's boyfriend. Mercy. Okay. Flood Presley, the young lady who is the victim as well, besides her 3 friends, was from Stillwater and the rest were from St. Paul. Flood Presley and Suggs, according to the victim's family, had been involved in some type of relationship, and witnesses reported saying the pair at St. Paul bar, the White Squirrel, the night before bodies were discovered by a farmer in his Dunn County, Wisconsin field. That's about 60 miles east of St. Paul. Investigators said street camera footage outside the White Squirrel showed a dark SUV at about 2:08 a.m. Sunday, AP reported. The passenger side is open, and the footage shows Sturm run into the vehicle. Another witness says she saw Flood Presley, Sturm, and Pettis get into a black SUV in the early morning hours, according to the complaint. All 4 victims were shot once in the head, according to the complaint. Flood Presley was found in the front passenger seat of the 2008 Mercedes-Benz GL, and the other 3 victims were in the back seat. Damone Presley Sr. told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune that father and son were known to his family, and he'd not only grown up with McWright, but had recently run into him. He saw the suspect about a month ago, and Mr. McWright expressed his condolences on the loss of Mr. Presley's mother last year. I'm not just understanding, he told the paper Thursday, adding that he didn't know of any problems between Mr. McWright or Mr. Suggs and members of his own family. He frequently hung around some younger cousins of mine, Mr. Presley said of Mr. Suggs, adding that he was confident that justice is coming. Following his arrest in Arizona, Mr. Suggs is awaiting transport back north. The said information is by The Independent. And then I will bring you another source, which is Fox 10 Phoenix. And I'm just going to recap a little bit of what I've just repeated in another source. I just want to bring something different. 1 second. Okay. This is a very strange story. I'm trying to see if there's something different in this article. So it is known that Mr. McWright, Darren, is the biological father of Mr. Suggs. But in an earlier article, it said he was the father of his brother, which I thought was strange wording. So I don't know if this man is a real father. He raised him. What's the deal? Well, they're saying he's a biological father. In this article that's different than what I just brought you, it says that Suggs, according to reports by the AP, had been living in Scottsdale recently and is listed in public records as the manager and owner of an apparel company. Suggs was reportedly spotted meeting with one of the victims in the case the night before the shootings, according to the AP. And naturally, oddly rather, Mr. Darren Lee McWright, which is his biological father, 56 years of age, is another suspect who was arrested on Wednesday. He was arrested prior to September 17th. This is a very bizarre story. Fox 10 is the source for that said information. I'm going to go ahead and get into my commentary pertaining to this storyline. We have 4 victims dead inside of a Mercedes-Benz SUV in a cornfield in Wisconsin. The people involved in the storyline that are dead are from Minnesota. The young ladies is from one small town, and the other 3 are from, I believe, St. Paul. I'm going to go ahead and get started. The victims were found in Sheridan, Wisconsin, in Dunn County, Sheridan Township. All 4 found in an SUV. The young lady who's allegedly dating Mr. Suggs is found in the passenger front seat, and the other 3 victims are in the back seat. They were all hanging out at the White Squirrel Bar. When you go to Google, you can pull up the said information pertaining to the bar. It looks like a very decent looking bar. It's inside of like an old type house building in St. Paul, Minnesota. The distance between St. Paul, Minnesota is 1 hour and 8 minutes, 67 miles to Sheridan County Township where the bodies were found. So the suspect drove these people to this town, Sheridan Township, or they all went in the car with him. He got in the car with this young lady. It's a very bizarre story because we don't know all the details. We don't even have a motive, but we do know that all of them knew of each other. The young lady knew of him, her father, whomever knew of the older father, and the son, who was a suspect, both suspects. So what we have to ask ourselves is what happened from the bar? Who said what to whom? Did he get in a car with them and drive to Wisconsin? The altercation jumped off. What happened? What happened? 1 hour away in 8 minutes. Why here did you dump the bodies? Mr. Suggs, why did you take those bodies and dump them in that cornfield? How long were you dating this young lady? Where did you all meet? How long have you been living in Arizona? When I look at your mugshot, you appear to be thinner in the face than earlier photos of you. So I'm wondering if perhaps you are on drugs. You're an alleged apparel owner. Do you work or do you not work, sir? Why were you in Minnesota? Did you go to Minnesota to visit this young lady, or did you go there for other felonious reasons? Why did you kill all the people? Okay, you're allegedly dating the girl. As I state, did something jump off in the car? Because I believe the Mercedes truck belongs to the victim who he was dating. So did they all get in the car together, go somewhere? Something jumped off. He shoots everybody, then drives them over the state line into Wisconsin and dumped them in this cornfield. And the weird part, which isn't really weird, but the obvious part of that story is that you had to have been followed out there, because how would you get out the cornfield, Mr. Suggs, without help? So that means Paw helped you get out the field. So that means he drove an alternate car. And it is stating that 2 cars were seen at a gas station in rural Wisconsin. So that leads me to believe that you all were following and tailing one another into the state of Wisconsin. Why? What were you all doing out there? Or did you drive dead bodies into Wisconsin and the gas station is only capturing you getting in and out of the car in Wisconsin and father getting out of an alternate car or seen in an alternate car. Perhaps the dead bodies were in that said car. I'm not really understanding. I'm just hearing from reading 2 cars were seen at a gas station. So this is what I'm very leery of. Were there dead bodies in the car or they were alive at the time? Very, very creepy story. Is this drug related? Because as I stated, you look very pale. Not pale, but your face is drawn in. I can see your cheekbone structure. You look like you're on drugs. Robbery? Did you set that young lady up? You thought she had some money? You thought she and her friends had monies? This was a robbery attempt. Maybe it was a setup all along. Go back home, meet somebody, rob them, leave them, come back, said money. Is there anybody in that group that's dead selling drugs? Was anybody in the group selling narcotics? You knew that. Y'all all met up at the bar, or somebody got to talking about drugs. Hey, I can get you a little this, what you want, what you need. What's the real motive behind the dead people? And as I state, the father obviously followed him to the dump site in Wisconsin, in that cornfield. So now we have to ask ourselves this. Where did the victims die? Where's the place of the actual shooting death? Did they die in one state and then carried over into another state by car into the victim's SUV? And Mr. Suggs was driving dead people in the car? Or did they all jump in the car and go over the state line and he murdered them in Wisconsin? Where were they killed? Lord Jesus, have mercy. This is baffling. 1 hour away. Why were you all in Wisconsin? Why did you murder them? Why is the father involved? He is now facing 4 counts of abuse of a corpse, hiding bodies. What does that mean exactly? What the F is going on? Because I am utterly confused. You all know each other. Is this personal? Ellie is questioning how you got from Wisconsin to Arizona. Did you fly? Did you drive your own car? Or did somebody drive you back? Did you fly on an airplane? Did you take the Greyhound bus? How did you get back to Arizona, sir? Do you own a car? Who are you living with out in Arizona? Interesting. What is the deal? This is a sick story. When I saw this in the news break, I thought, dear God, you got to be kidding me. This is baffling. Very, very baffling. When I get more information pertaining to the said information that I brought you, I will bring an update as soon as I get it. The who, the when, the where, and the why. I do not know if this guy, something jumped off in conversation when these people were hanging with each other. It shows footage of them getting in the car from the White Squirrel Bar at 2 a.m. So everything seemed okay at that time. If you're all getting in the car, this is where it gets grainy. What happened once everybody got in the car? Did Mr. Suggs get in the said SUV with the victims? And something jumped off, and then he had to call his daddy for backup. Or was the father also out and about or at the same place and followed them to another place to where the jump off happened? Dear God, what are we speaking of? This is horrible. Condolences to the family of all the victims. I pray that you get justice. I pray that you get an answer. It will not be soothing, of course, because the people are deceased and they were bludgeoned, each shot in the head. It's a lot to decipher in these turbulent times. It's a lot to decipher. Three people being shot in the head for whatever reason. So that's why I'm asking, is this personal? Is this drug related? They get to arguing. One thing led to another. What is it? What are you doing with a gun? So one would have to ask themselves, you just traveled from Arizona. So I know you didn't travel with a gun on your persons because you can't fly with a gun. That's why I would tell people to stay woke. Everything you need to know is at the beginning of the story. Come on, Queen. You flew on an airplane from Arizona to Minnesota. That means you did not have a weapon. because you cannot fly with a gun. So that means you got a gun in the state of Minnesota or Wisconsin. Who gave you the gun? Come on, Queen. I just thought about that just now. You got a gun for what reason? Because you couldn't have had a gun. You didn't bring a gun from one state to the other because you can't fly with a gun. So that means you got the gun when you touch down. Why would you need a gun? So now we have to ask ourselves, if this was a setup, that you've been talking to this girl all along, wanting to set her up for some reason? Did somebody in her family do something to you, your family members? And for your father to get involved, it sounds very personal. Very personal. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you all for joining me. God bless. I love you. I'll possibly be back with another update pertaining to Robert Kelly. I'm a day or two behind on this information of what took place in court on Friday. I'll be right back. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. God bless you.